All right, we're here at Miami Heat Media Day with Caleb Martin, who was, of course, a breakout star for the Miami Heat last season. Caleb, thanks for joining us. How did things change for you over the course of the season where it seemed like your confidence got to an entirely different level once we got to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, I think more so than more so than anything is I think at that point once we beat the Knicks, I kind of had already mentally prepared. Was thinking about the year before and kind of how they guarded me and just kind of how they put the five on me and would pack the paint. So obviously I would took that as disrespect, and that's all I could think about towards the end of the Knicks series. So I knew I was really gonna have to. That was going to be a big series for me in terms of and I was going to have a big impact. Obviously, in case if I got the opportunity in the minutes, but knowing at that point in the season, I knew I was going to probably play a lot last year. And once we were going into Boston, I knew that they were probably going to have the same game plan. So I just made sure I had to come correct and just make sure I knew I was going to get those opportunities and really just hone in and focus in on just trying to be impactful. And I knew it was just going to be an offensive series more than anything that time.
You talk about the adjustments that you make and sort of that disrespect about the way that they were playing you, but you also talked during the season about the way that they would play on the three-point line and the closeout and the ability to go by the closeout and the additional respect that you did get with your three-point shot. But I remember another thing that you said during the postseason, which was that you have a little bit more in your ISO bag than maybe you've shown. So when you went into the offseason, what were your priorities, and how do you think you can draw those things out this year?
It's like the offseason you always feel like you don't have enough time, so you always feel like you're trying to work on 100 things at once and never feel like you have enough time. So, I mean, obviously, just continue to sharpen, like you said, sharpen tools in the bag, and just make sure because you never know when those opportunities are going to come. But obviously, staying consistent, shooting. But since it was a short off season, a lot of more than anything it was just recovery and mental recovery, physical recovery, and fix up any knacks and pains that you got going into the season because it is a short off season. So just a little bit of everything. Feeling like you don't have enough time, and with the not only because it's the off season, but just how far we went 2 months after everybody else was done playing. So along with trying to sharpen the bag up, at the same time. So I focused on a multitude of things like I do every summer, and but a lot of it going into this year is just continue to want to stay at that level and not really get ahead of yourself. I understand what role I play, and I understand my role is going to fluctuate based off the games, matchups, whatever. So some nights is still going to be offensively, and some nights are still going to be more defensively. So.
Before I let Alex and Brady geek out with you on basketball here, I got to ask you the perfunctory question. You know the business of basketball, I think, as well or better than any of the guys here with what you had to do just to get back to this position, obviously, and to come from a two-way to somebody who was playing significant minutes in the Eastern Conference Finals and the Finals. But how did you handle the noise of this offseason? Were you paying a lot of attention to it or not?
I mean, I would say I'm paying attention to it. It's hard not to see. You're going to see it. You're going to hear about it. You're going to wonder if you're going to be here or somewhere else. But then it just kind of gets to a point to where there's a lot of things in this business that you can't control. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. And that's like I said before, that's the good and bad thing about having value is you always want to be valuable. But, the more value you get, the more of an asset that you'll be in order to get, to make it, to be in a trade, so that's just what comes with it, man. That's just what comes. Continue to elevate your game, and they're good problems to have. That just means that you're wanted, and that just means that you're, like you said, that just shows that you have some sort of value. So as long as you don't take it personal and not disrespectful, obviously you want to, wherever you want to be, especially if you want to be somewhere, you're going to feel some type of way about it. But, you just got to focus on understanding it's a business, and at the end of the day, you can't really take business personal.
Caleb, I wanted to ask you, so just kind of projecting the way that the roster looks right now, the way it's shaking out, trying to project the rotation, it seems like you guys have a little bit more in the front court as opposed to the back court. With the way you've been playing a lot of power forward over the past couple of seasons, do you think there's going to be some time this year where you're playing two guard, a little bit more three, and how much does it matter? Because I feel like at the end of the day, you're going to be the one guarding at the perimeter attack, you're going to be the one guarding the guards, guarding the wings, at the top of the zone, whatever it may be. So how much does the position matter, and do you expect to be playing more positions, different roles this season, or what do you think?
I definitely think that I'll be playing a little bit all over the place again. Like, it's just, depending on what we need. There was times even last year that I was playing point guard, where I was bringing the ball up and getting into certain guys. But that's the good thing about having the roster that we put together right now is that we got a lot of guys that are versatile and can do a little bit of everything if we need. We have a lot of wings that could play potentially 1 to almost 4, you know what I mean? So, and we can guard 1 to 4, and having a 5 like Bam and can obviously go 1 through 5 switch. There's a whole bunch of things that we can do with the type of roster that we got right now. A lot of it's just going to, like you said, it's just going to be figuring it out and, just seeing what works for us. It's not necessarily going to be the probably maybe ideal thing to do, and obviously you want certain guys specifically to play certain positions, but that's not always how it works. And you just kind of work with what you have, and while doing that and getting reps at those things, you'd be surprised at what some guys can do and what some guys are capable of doing, whether it's a wing playing point guard position, a wing playing and me playing the 4, whatever it is, we're going to make it work. That's just what we do. And so I'm not really too worried about that. It's just more figuring it out more than anything.
I feel like we're kind of asking you the same question but in a different way than we did last year. Because last year it was, okay, now you're going to be starting at the 4. Right? And that seemed like kind of different and strange, but you made an adjustment to it and then had to make another adjustment as part of it. So, again, it's like the more things change, the more things stay the same around here. One more thing, and then I just want to get to Brady on this. As you say, you're putting in the off-season work with everything. When you look at particularly coming off the finals, because I know you had the great Eastern Conference Finals, and then in the finals, I know you weren't feeling great to start that series and all that. But was some of it the way that they played you in the finals? Did they adjust to you in a different way because you were always on the scouting report, but maybe more so after what you did against Boston? And what did they do?
For sure, they did a great job of adjusting to that, and especially in the rhythm that I was in, it sucked. Having to start that series feeling like I did. But I'm not really a man of excuses. At the end of the day, it's like, the games aren't going to wait for you to feel better. The team's not going to wait for you to feel better. I'm sure I wasn't only worse, and that was, either feeling under the weather or some guys had injuries or whatever it is. You know what I mean? You got to that's the point of the season where everybody's dealing with something. So I'm not really going to sit there and blame that on, obviously being sick, even though, the first 2 games I was down bad. I'm not going to lie, but, like, it doesn't – nobody really cares. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't care if somebody else down, is feeling like that too. It's just, if anything,
Is that the first time you've experienced that?
That's the first time I've ever experienced the altitude sickness or whatever it was. Like, yeah, I thought it was, I couldn't tell what it was the first day I had it, but the timing of that was just crazy, man. Like, that sucked, but, like, it is what it is. But, and, I felt like I was starting to get a rhythm after going into game 3, but you know how it is at that point of the season, every game matters. Every quarter matters. So to me, I felt like I had wasted or, missed out on 8 quarters before, I felt like I was getting back to feeling how I was feeling. By then, they were already in such a good groove and they were playing really well. They were shooting the ball really well. Their defense was, like you said, they made great adjustments on staying out on guys. You could tell they were trying to make us into an ISO team, staying out on shooters, staying out on cuts, focus more on cutters, and just kind of, they had a great game plan, man. So definitely a credit to them, and they earned what they got. So, that's just part of it. You learn from that, and that's something that I've thought about personally throughout this whole entire offseason is, kind of like we were just talking about how I went into the mental approach going into the Boston series this time based off how they covered me last year. I will carry that finals series with me going into this year. So
I had 2 quick ones. The first one, you mentioned the Boston series. Did you ever go back and look at those highlights from the Boston series this offseason? If so, how many times? Because there was some shots in there. Like, there was some shot making in there.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some videos like some people like put together and stuff. So, like, yeah, I've seen a couple highlights, and anytime during the summer you're getting so many reps up that sometimes I don't know if I'm sure other hoopers can obviously follow what I'm saying. It's like once you're shooting and you're getting so many reps up, you almost feel numb to where sometimes your shot feels worse during the summer. You know what I mean? You're just getting so many reps up, and so in those moments I go back and look at highlights and see, all right, what am I doing when I'm making shots? How am I flowing? Like, where's my arm? Like, that type of stuff. So I go back and remind myself, okay, I feel it doing this. And so sometimes I use it as film, and then sometimes it just keeps the confidence at the same time. So, but yeah, I do a little bit of both. But I mean, yeah, man, I can definitely make shots when I need to. I just it's just fun to be able to, it's just fun each year to be able to try to stack on top of that and just kind of continue to show that side of my game too. So
I was also going to ask about just freedom, like giving you the freedom on the court, because I remember you talked about when you left Charlotte, like maybe you didn't have that same ability to go out there and just hoop a lot of the time. So I guess when you're in a role maybe this season, I know you talked about possibly coming off the bench and kind of might be a little bit freer, maybe you could be unleashed in certain ways offensively. Do you welcome that? Like, is that something that you would enjoy doing?
Yeah, man. I'm more just about like, I just want the minutes because I know with the minutes I'm gonna be productive, and I'll continue to learn how to be more productive. And as long as I'm getting my minutes, that's all I'm worried. And obviously I want to finish games because I know that's what it comes down to defense and getting stops. So those are two of the biggest main factors for me. It's not necessarily starting. I don't really care about that doesn't bother me from like a pride or ego thing where I feel like I got to start. I feel like I got to whatever it is. I'm cool with doing whatever as long as I want my minutes and I want my opportunity and and stuff like that. And so because I just want to be able to be productive and produce. So that's what I'm worried about. That's all.
Final one here for Caleb Martin. Now that he looks like Andre 3000, can we safely say that you were the rightful Eastern Conference Finals MVP?
I wouldn't say that, man. Honestly, like I think I was definitely my fault. Definitely the way you could tell a lot of people noticed off the voting and stuff like that there were a lot of people recognize that I probably maybe should have been or had a chance to be, but ultimately, man, like I get it is the Eastern Conference Finals, so we were going based off that series. But even with the numbers, Jimmy had better numbers, and I'll take and for like getting a trophy or something on your resume with something like that, I look at it as like how do we get to this point, and I looked at how we all did our part, but he carried, especially early in the first two series. So like it's hard not to. It's hard to argue that, you know what I mean? I think I was a surprise of the series, and so a lot of people get caught up on that. But, it's hard not to give it him, man. Like, he's the reason why we're there, so.
Well, thanks, Caleb. We appreciate the time. I think the hair invalidates everything, but but it is what it is. Have a great season.
Appreciate that.